Morning, students. Welcome back to Semester 2 Research Methodology Unit 5. What we are doing is hypothesis testing with t-test. Now, what is hypothesis testing? Hypothesis is something which can be hypothesis is something which shows a relationship between two variables. And as you can see in from hypothesis, what we are trying to find out is an inferential statistics. That means we want to infer something from the variables. Now, how are we going to infer something from the variables? Is just like uh, we have some problem with our body, and we go to the doctor and he prescribes certain tests to us. And when he prescribes certain tests to us, we go to the pathologist, and there he does the testing by taking a sample out from your vein, and the blood is being tested for whatever disease the doctor is thinking the patient is having. Now, what is happening? The whatever the result will come out by the pathologist, the doctor will give the medicine accordingly. Similarly, in research methodology, we infer our result from hypothesis testing. That means we are going to find out the relationship between two variables by putting a test on the data which was already collected. So we are doing at the moment we are doing parametric testing, and under parametric testing, what happens is we there is a likelihood of obtaining sample mean where population parameters in terms of mu and standard deviations are given to us. When we are trying to use samples to estimate population variability, we have to acknowledge certain errors. Why we have to acknowledge certain errors? Because smaller samples means a less spread. That means if you are taking a small amount of sample, it is very difficult to put your result on the entire population. So we have to reduce our spread. So when we have to reduce our spread, what we do is you can see here. I'll just note it down to you. You can see over here that n minus 1 is written. Now, what is n minus 1? That means n is the number of samples in the number of elements in the sample. Supposing it is 10, 20, 30, whatever it is. If it is 10, then naturally we'll reduce it further so that our quotient becomes larger. In this way, this correction will affect larger samples less, so that it will affect smaller samples. How? If you have 4 as n, then 4 minus 1 is going to be 75%. If you have, say, 65 as n, then 65 minus 1 is 64, and that is going to be a change of 1.5%. It's going to be a change of 1.5%. This is how we try to reduce our denominator in order to have a better inferential statistics with us. There are before we start on t-test, simple t-test, the few things you need to understand. We have a new measure of standard deviation for a sample, and that is s. And that s of sample, this s which you are seeing over here, this is standard error based on sample standard deviation, and that standard error is going to be s under root n. Is it clear to all of you? We'll go ahead and we'll talk about students t statistics. And under t statistics, the basic formula which is being used over here is this formula, which will be used in all the three different types of test of students t test. So it is going to be m over here, which you can see over here. M is your sample mean, and mu m is your population mean. Clear? Where mu m is your population mean, and you have to take the difference between them and divide it by sm. This figure is trying to tell you that as our degrees of freedom is reduced, our t distribution is slightly becomes flatter, and as our degrees of freedom increases, the t distribution test reaches a normal distribution curve, or tries to follow a normal distribution curve. Why we are discussing these things? Because you must understand that these are the assumptions behind students t statistics. Now, when we would this video is divided into three categories, and in each of the three videos, we are going to talk on single sample t-test and independent sample t-test, single sample t-test, independent sample t-test, and pair dependent sample t-test. These are the different t-tests which are conducted for hypothesis testing. These are the and hypothesis testing means, and since it is population mean is given to you, so it is called parametric testing also. Parametric testing would mean that we are trying to take the sample and trying to put it on the population. Degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom, you must understand what is degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom means that when we want to when we the number of times we can change a sample and the sample mean remains the same. Supposing the example is given over here. This is necessary when making estimates. This is very clear in any kind of parametric test. You should have the degrees of freedom, so that you may know that how many times you can change the sample elements in order to get the same answer. So the number of scores that are free to vary when estimating a population parameter from a sample. So we have degrees of freedom is equal to n minus, degrees of freedom is going to be n minus 1. उसका एग्जाम्पल आप यहाँ पे देखिए. आई डिसाइड टू आस्क 6 people how often they floss their teeth and record their average. Their average was 2 times per week. Eventual goal, estimate population parameters, how many scores are free to vary and can still produce an average of 2. तो ये पीछे चला गया एक मिनट. So we have an average of 2. Now what is happening over here is that this is your degrees of freedom. That means n minus 1, 5 times we can change our sample, and that is a sample element, and still the sample mean is going to be 2. Now the other thing which you need to understand in parametric testing is this is a normal probability curve, and in a normal probability curve, we when we want to be 95% sure of our analysis, so 5% is left out. So there are two tail test and there is a one tail test. So in a one tail test, 5% comes on the entire 5% will come on the right side. That means this side. And in a two tail test, what is going to happen is we are going to have in a two tail test, half of 5%, yani half of 5, that is 2.5, will come on the left hand side and 2.5 will come on the right hand side. As you all know, this is your 0 over here, and if this is your 0, so this is your negative and this is your positive side. So we want to be sure that supposing I want to be sure that the age limit of the candidates under consideration should be below 18 and above and below 18 to 28. So below 18 will come over here and 28 will come over here. That is a two tail test. And supposing I want to find out that my samples should be not less than 28 years. So in this case we have what, one tail test. One tail test में ये वाला जो एरिया है आपका, ये सारा आ जाता है. Is it clear to all of you? Dear students, because this is a video, I am doing a monologue with you all, but naturally this has to be both-sided affair, where we need to understand, you need to understand me and I need to understand your problems. If you have any problems, you need to mail me or you need to WhatsApp me so that I may understand your problems. Now these are the 6 steps for hypothesis testing, which are any kind of testing. We are doing hypothesis testing, these 6 steps have to be followed. What are those 6 steps? Those 6 steps are: you first identify the variables, you state the hypothesis, characteristics of the comparison distribution should be there, critical value should be there in front of you. You calculate your own value and then you give your decision. This is your 6 steps, or it is also called the old hat. Old hat means wearing the hat wherever you go and wherever you are going for hypothesis testing. So identify, state the hypothesis, characteristics of the comparison distribution, find out the critical value, calculate your own value, and then you decide that what kind of hypothesis testing you need. Next is now I had told you that this video will be divided into three. This is the first type of t-test, single sample t-test, where I have taken an example of attendance in therapy sessions. A very simple example. So I'll just read out this particular problem. Our counseling center on campus is concerned that most students requiring therapy do not take advantage of these services. That means you enter a college and certain services provided to you, and you don't avail those services. Right now, students. In the question further says, right now students only 4.6 sessions in a given year. Administrators are considering having patients sign a contract stating that they will attend at least 10 sessions in an academic year. So there is a problem that these patients, they are attending only 4.6 sessions, and now they want that they should attend 10 sessions, and for those 10 sessions, what should they do? They should sign a contract. So now the question, the problem or the question over here is, does signing the contract actually increase participation or attendance? So it's a very simple example given to you, and we'll go further on it. So there are 5 patients who sign the contract, and we count the number of times they attend the therapy sessions. So these 5 patients, the number of times they attend the therapy sessions are 6, 6, 12, 7 and 8, which you can see on the slide. Now this we have done already. Now single sample t-test we are doing. There's only a single sample, those 5 people who have signed the contract, and you have the observations in front of you that they attend so many number of sessions. So what do you identify? You identify population. Population one is that all clients who sign contract, and population 2 all clients who do not sign contract. ठीक है. Distribution, one sample mean, distribution of mean is going to be there. Test and assumption, population mean is known but not standard deviations, because it is a single sample t-test. So population mean is given to you. Data is at interval levels, probably not random selection. Sample size of 5 is less than 30, therefore distribution might not be normal. Now the second part, the first one was to identify the variables, if you remember the old hat, and the second part is state the null and research hypothesis. Clients who sign the contract will attend the same number of sessions as those who do not sign the contract. This is the null hypothesis. Clients who sign the contract will attend a different number of sessions than those who do not sign the contract. Now here we are going to calculate our single sample t-test. So how are we going to calculate our single sample t-test? Population is given to you. If you remember the question given to you, only 4.6 times the students were entering. Then what happened was, sample mean जो हमारा निकला है वो 7.8 था, जो इसको 6, 6, 12, 7, 8 you add it up and divided by 5 and you'll get sample mean. After that what I have taken is x minus m, and what else I have taken out is x minus m square. x minus m क्या होगा? x आपका ये वाले points होंगे. Are you following? These are the points of x. These are all your x, right? Now x minus m is going to be 7.8. So x minus m is 1.8. ये minus जहाँ लगेगा, जो भी इसका difference होगा, then we try to take out, we square the differences because we want to remove the negative signs, and we take the sum of square differences. After taking out the sum of square differences, we take out the ये आपका sample standard deviation, and sample standard deviation out here is 2.490. that is 24.8. यहाँ से इधर से लेके यहाँ इसको ले आए. From where have you taken 24.8? It is sum of square deviation, and x minus 1, n minus 1 is going to be your denominator. So 2.490 is your sample standard deviation. Then comes your standard error. So standard error is coming to 1.14. Clear to everyone? After this we are this is see in the previous slide what we have done is we have found out that this is our mu, which was already given to you. Mu is the population mean. This is our sample mean, that is 1.114, and this is our ye wala mean 7 point. This is your, sorry, this is your standard error. SM is your standard error, and m equals 7.8, n is equal to 5, and degrees of freedom is 4, that is n minus 1. So that is going to be your degrees of freedom. Now the fourth step is determine the critical value. How are you going to determine the critical value? We determine the critical value by taking the alpha values and by taking the degrees of freedom. This is as per the this is the table, which is it is called the t-test table, where on the vertical axis, this axis we have degrees of freedom, and on the horizontal axis we have alpha values. So degrees of freedom out here is 4, so this is 4, and then you will reach this red line area where your degrees of freedom is 0.05. So your cutoff value over here is coming to 2.778. This is the critical value, which is going to be common throughout the world. Now determine the critical value and the cutoffs. The actual critical value is coming to plus minus 2.76, and the 2.76, and your test statistics is coming to sample mean minus population mean divided by standard error. So that is 7.8 minus 4.6 divided by 1.114 is going to give you your T numerical, that is 2.873. So when 2.873 is given to you and your critical value calculated was how much? If we go back, it is 2.76. That means 2.873 will come to 2.873 will come on this side of the figure. On this side of the figure, that means away from on the extreme tails. So what decisions you make? You make a decision that T is 2.873, which is greater than the critical value, which is equal to plus minus 2.776, and therefore when such a thing happens, we reject the null hypothesis. Why we reject the null hypothesis? Because it is going beyond this area. It is going beyond this area. Clear? And if this value 2.873 would have been in this area, so we would not have rejected the null hypothesis. But at the moment we have to null hypothesis because our calculated value is greater than our critical value. So clients who sign, so what is the answer? Our concentration should be on the answer. What is the answer? Clients who sign a contract will attend more sessions than those who do not sign a contract. So it is written like this. T4 is, that is students t-test at degrees of freedom of 4 equals 2.87, where the p value is less than 0.05. So p value is your ye wali value thi, where is your p value? It is the value 2.76. Clear? So that this is how we calculate our t-test, single sample t-test, where it is very important for research. I have explained you in my other videos also that research is not important for PhD students. Research is not important for scientists. It is important for us simple people also. But we should know that how we need to use these testing tools. And there is a certain way of writing this result. This is the APA format. Write the symbol of the test statistics, write the degrees of freedom in parenthesis, write an equal sign and then value of the test statistics, 2 decimal places tak, write a comma and then whether the p-value associated with the test statistics was less than or greater than the cutoff value of 0.05, or report exact p-value. So 2.875, so therefore we reject the null hypothesis. I hope this is clear to all of you.